you will be able to see me a bit better now and see what I'm doing. Okay, so I know nobody's watching just now, but I am in the process of making a new sculpture. Somebody is going to be sitting like this. You can see it in the thumbnail, but otherwise somebody's going to be sitting all bunched up, and you're going to get the feeling of somebody just like hiding away in their shell. But this is going to describe what it's like to be an addict that's just clean, just new clean. And so the addict, when they've just become clean, feel a little bit like somebody who's had third degree burns all over the body. So it's a pretty uncomfortable feeling. And so the sculpture is going to be made in silicone, and it's going to be cast using a plaster cast. I'll show you the head. The hands are covering the face. And then so the shell is going to end up lying next to the cast in silicone, and so the silicone will be soft and hopefully quite raw looking, and so you get the impression that this person is just coming to terms with having their layer of skin removed, which is what it feels like, apparently. I've never been an addict, and I never will be an addict of drugs anyway. Facebook, YouTube, yeah, a little bit. But anyway, so I'm going to see if I can make it possible for you to follow what I'm doing. It's not always that easy. So if you have any questions, then please do write them in the chat, and I'll try and notice them. Okay. So this is the side of the body. Need to get this working a little bit better. Hello, somebody has joined me. Ask a question, ask me what I'm doing. I'm making a sculpture. I thought it would be maybe fun to have you all join, if anyone wants to join. See what an artist's up to. So I'm using plaster of Paris, which is like strips of gauze, and then make some strips, and then I cut them once I've got them all out. Hello, somebody, you're watching. You know that I want this conversation to be you've disappeared again. I want to talk about mental health and addiction, but I need somebody to talk to. Hello. these strips of gauze I put on my sculpture here. You can see this bit's too floppy, so I need to strengthen that before I can piece together this body. So, and since most of this plaster is already hardened, I need to wet it to add more plaster on, otherwise it'll just suck all the water out of the new piece of plaster that has been dipped in this water over here. There we go. And the key is to not have it stiffen in the wrong position, so that could be tricky. And it's already had the water sucked out of it. So people log in and then they log off, but please do ask the question. I'm creating an artwork in front of your very eyes. Certainly trying to. The image, the image on the front of this video shows what it should end up looking like, except that I'm going to divide this up again after I've created all the parts. I don't know if you can see, there's a head over here holding the hands and the face, and this sculpture is going to represent how vulnerable somebody feels when they've stopped taking drugs. So if there's anyone here that has experience of either being on pharmaceuticals or on other kinds of drugs and experiencing coming off them, and the difficulty is, for mental health, some people get treatment from the doctors and then they end up getting addicted to those drugs, and it's just like whatever it was meant to help with, it's become the problem. And so I've made it one of my callings, I suppose, to deal with this subject of addiction and mental health. And when my friend relapsed into a heroin addiction, I tell you, I was in pain. I was like, if anyone should be taking some drugs to dull the pain, it's me. And yet that wouldn't really solve the problem, would it? It would just make me an addict too. And another friend of mine who said, she got maybe some things from the doctor, said it doesn't actually make you solve any problems. It kind of just makes things stand still. So I'm sure some people will say they have had help from drugs from psychiatrist, but there's also a lot of evidence to suggest that it's actually does more harm than good, especially if it's used on long term. So see, I had a model sitting in this sculpture for 3.5 hours in one go. I'm telling you, she was impressively good at staying still, because I really tried to make it as painless as possible, but she ended up having her muscles burning. It was really tough. I'm glad it wasn't me. I was in pain too, but that was because this position was also painful. So yeah, let me know if anyone's had any experiences with mental health or drug use, or just wanting to escape, feeling vulnerable. That's what this artwork is going to be about. Has anyone been watching the Olympics? Just thinking, for example, of Simone Biles, I think her name is, the amazing gymnast, and how she She stopped her pursuit last Olympics because of mental health issues which were causing her to be dizzy. And you know, her sport is actually dangerous if you're trying to perform and you're not in balance. So she did the right thing of dropping out, however painful it was. And she's come back with a vengeance, which is great. She deserves all the praise and adulation that she gets. So hopefully once I've made these strengthenings, when I've reinforced this sculpture, it's going to be strong enough to use as a cast or as a mold for a cast. Please ask any questions you like. You can ask questions about my personal life. You can ask questions about what I think about transgender sports. You can ask me questions about addiction, about art, about arm wrestling. I'm kind of open for everything. And as you can see, I'm not arm wrestling right now, but I've been working on my strict curls with 2 weights, 1 in each arm. So yeah, I've also done a little attempt with a bar, but today I strict curled 10 kilos in each arm. Doesn't sound very impressive, does it? But reps, I did 10 reps. So got to start somewhere, because I haven't really been doing any weight training. I just do a bit of arm wrestling training, a bit of swimming and climbing, all of which do give you strength. And I think actually sports helps with mental health, because when you're fighting against the odds in a sport, you can see that your willpower plays a role in whether you succeed or not. Just like if you're experiencing something that's mentally tough, you do have a choice of whether to collapse or whether to continue. And I'm not saying that in every circumstance you should just fight on. I'm saying that you don't actually need to have a mental breakdown. I don't think you do. I think you can be brave enough to stop before it gets to there, or you can have a healthy mindset. When my friend relapsed into heroin addiction and I had to deal with the loss of my favorite friend, I mean, I thought we were going to maybe share a life together and help other people out of addiction, and there I was alone, having to figure out my life and my calling, which had, even before I met him, been about helping people out of addiction. So when I met him, it was just like a no-brainer. He and I were going to do some great things together. So I've had to live with just seeing me become the object of contempt in his eyes, in his addict persona's eyes. I don't think I was the object of contempt in his healthy eyes. But you know, now that the drugs had taken over, then I had to live with the fact that this was his truth. And I chose to start creating art about it. So I have created lots of artworks that deal with this story, and they've not been all sort of like poor me at all. A lot of them have been about, you know, what is it that an addict feels and experiences when they relapse. A few of them have also been about what it feels like for the friends and family of an addict, because that is actually an important story that's often forgotten. So I would like somebody to ask me a question. Ask me if I wanted to be a boy when I was a child, or whether people thought I was a boy when I was a child. Just thinking of all this transgender, the transgender conversation we're having, especially in connection with the Olympics. I saw Devin was giving his spiel, which I actually agreed with him about. You know, to have men competing against women in boxing matches, not a good idea. Not a good idea. So I was a tomboy growing up. I liked to play soccer, football in Britain, soccer in America, and I liked to climb trees, and I had short hair, and I liked to play with action. I didn't like to play with dolls, very rarely anyway. So anyone been watching the Olympics? Anyone think that arm wrestling will be in the next Olympics? I'm fighting with my plaster of Paris here, trying to get it to stick. So this here is an arm, and at the end, not at the end of this video because it's going to take a while, but I'm going to piece this together and make a sculpture for my next exhibition, which again is addiction, mental health. And this time, at long last, I've actually been given some money to do this project. So hopefully I'll be able to create an even better job of it. Get the news out, get people involved. Get some coverage. Anyone want to ask me a question? Any one person could ask me what the heck I'm doing. I had a model sit in this cast for 3.5 hours, and then we realized it wasn't stiff enough for her to not climb back in, so she had to climb into the torso again, and we continued the sculpture for, I don't know if it was an hour or more or longer, but certainly enough time. So that was definitely eventful. So if you want to ask me any questions, then please feel free. Jack. So, come on, somebody ask me a question. You can ask me where in the world I am, or what I think of transgender sports, or just in terms of what do I think about sex changes, or whatever. Ask me something. Arm wrestling. Okay, ask me a question about arm wrestling. So you might want to know if I've been arm wrestling recently. I have, but I've also been on holiday. I was at fitness center today trying to train up my bicep strength. So what does anyone think about Devon's possible match with Oleg or Chance Shaw? What do you think of his chances? Or what do you think of his strength? What do you think his strength is going to be like compared to when he was massive, now that he's not so massive anymore? And what do you think of Auden getting matches now on the big scene? I think he deserves it. Oh, is that a question? Well, I can say that I'm in the process of trying to make a video of me getting a lesson from one of the Grandmaster arm wrestlers from IFA, and he's Danish, and he's 62, and he's really, really strong. I mean, when I gripped up with John Brzenk when I was in Istanbul, I mean, maybe it was partly because I was a bit dazed and confused, you know, like meeting John Brzenk and everything. Not sure whether he was happy to meet me type problem. But I didn't feel the same crazy hand on John Brzenk as I felt on Kim Jakobsen. This guy, what his name is, he has just got like a hand that feels like two potatoes. They're not like, it's like, how do you grip onto this? So that was fun. So I'm trying to make a video of us arm wrestling. Clearly, I'm no match for him. But then again, a lot of young guys are not a match for him either, even if they're seasoned arm wrestlers. So I shouldn't feel bad about it at all. And another thing is that I've been to Herning for the pre-Olympic Danish Olympics, if you like. They're basically preparing for the Olympics, and I did some arm wrestling, and I met, you know, the first girl that I was going to arm wrestle. Oh, somebody loves me. That's nice. Thanks. So I was like, so do you need me to give you a little head start type thing? And this girl, she was like, yeah, and she didn't look that big, and she had a big hoodie on, so I didn't really notice what she was. And so she pulled me like over towards the pad, and I was like, no, and I'm just too, you know, it would hurt my ego too much to lose to a girl who doesn't arm wrestle. So I held position as best I could. I think I got myself a little injury, and then I slipped. I was like, all right, I'm going to slip this one because I can't save it. And then we got on the strap, and I did pull through a win, which was nice, despite it costing me an injury. I think she actually beat me on left. Then I found out what she was. She was a wakeboarder, and I don't know if you can remember my video with a wake skater. They do have strong forearms, so there's no embarrassment really to be challenged by somebody who does that. And she came second in the wakeboard competition, so she's clearly very talented at what she does. And I also arm wrestled the shot putter. That was a little bit of a joke, especially after my injury. I had nothing for her on the right. I did have something for her on the left though, which she was surprised at. So, but she was like built like a tank. So if I could give her any sort of resistance, I should be pleased. And I was okay about that. And then there was quite a lot of old ladies that also wanted to arm wrestle, which was fun. So I had these fun arm wrestles with older ladies. I can't say your name, but you seem to have jumped off anyway. So really helps to have somebody to talk to rather than just sitting here blabbering away on my own. So please do ask me some questions. Let's have a conversation. It could be about arm wrestling, it could be about sport in general, it could be about the Olympics, it could be about transgender sports, the issues with it. It could be about my upbringing. It could be about what I'm doing right now. I'm creating an artwork, and yeah, I'm sorry, it's quite slow moving to create an artwork on live on screen, because there's no cutting to the new stages. It's just all slog. So that's why it'd be nice to have a conversation with somebody while we work on it, together. So who is looking forward to seeing John Brzenk against the lion, the goat against the lion? I'm a bit nervous for the goat, so I really want the goat to finally win. I mean, the positive thing is, though, that he has said he's done everything he can this time, and other times he's like, oh, I haven't trained, been in too much pain. So hopefully he is more prepared this time than he's been for a long time. But Arkona looks pretty lethal. He's built, and John Brzenk is 60, and he's been failing of late, which is hard for a fan to watch. Ooh, have I given her too fat a body? Okay, can you just pull that in a bit, not to be too fat. So, speak to me, somebody, speak to me. Who are you? Who's watching? Talk to me. Yeah, John Brzenk. I want to see him at long last. It'd be nice. That would be well and truly called for. So, anyone got any questions for me? I'm being an artist here. The arm wrestler is being an artist. So, just bear with me. You can still ask me questions about arm wrestling. And cut me some plaster strips. I'm sitting out here in somebody's yard and they're like looking at me, wondering what I'm doing. I need somebody to ask me some questions. Ask me some questions. I can't see any questions coming up, so I can't answer them. Let's see if there's anything. Nope. Do ask me a question. I need input. Need input to be funny and interesting to talk to. So I'm in the process of making this video with Kim Jakobsen, a grandmaster. He's won a gold, 3 silvers and a bronze, or 2 bronzes at the grandmasters level of IFA competition. So he's a force to be reckoned with, and I got some training from him a while back, and I'm trying to get that video out I have so many arm wrestling videos to put out, and I keep getting distracted by other things that need done, other projects. So that's nice. So, anyone got any thoughts on the coming East versus West 14? And do you think we'll end up having transgender arm wrestlers competing? Since this seems to be the rage at the Olympics. Which I agree with Devin is a bit catastrophic. And I know Canada is also having issues with transgender sports persons. So I can see there are a couple of people on, so please feel free to ask me some questions. I'm all eyes on the board, and yeah, we can talk about arm wrestling, we can talk about mental health, possibly also mental health in sports. We can talk about addiction, because I'm creating an artwork about that's connected to my addiction exhibition. I have a new exhibition coming up in Glostrup Bibliotek in the west of Zealand, Denmark, in weeks 44 to 48. So if you happen to be in Denmark, then you should be able to see my exhibition. And that would be grand. So who's on? Please ask me any questions you like while I create this artwork on my own. It's going to be a full body cast, and it's going to hopefully demonstrate the feeling of vulnerability that somebody has when they come out of an addiction. It's a very vulnerable place to be, because you're used to having this skin that's covering this, the drugs are creating a cocoon that you can be in, be safe in, or party in, but it ends up being a way of distancing yourself from all sorts of issues and people and tasks that you might need to do, and they come all flying back at you when you then are clean, and so you feel totally raw. I haven't tried it myself, but I've met people who've been close to me who have tried this, so it's been recognized as being the way it is. So it's not just something I'm thinking up. So, did any of you watch my 47th birthday challenge? Know what it is? I set a challenge for myself to try and do my age in push-ups, and I didn't totally manage it on my birthday. I managed 44 push-ups on my birthday with my feet elevated, I don't know, 23 centimeters. But then a few days later, within the week, that's what I give myself, within the week I managed to do 50. That was fun. Right, Right, so I have stiffened up the arm, but hopefully it's not stiffened in the wrong position, but if it is, then there'll be a way, hopefully, of correcting it. It's not easy doing a full-size cast of somebody. I'm not that accustomed to doing that. I've only done it once or twice before, so a bit nervous to try, but then I just felt I'm gonna have to try. Just throw yourself into it. Sometimes you just need to throw yourself into it. So anyway, I watched Engen's interview with Chan Shaw and Devon last night. Anyone watch that? It ended up being a kind of like Devon convincing himself that he could beat Chan Shaw at 105, and Chan Shaw saying no chance, and Devon saying you don't really believe that, and Engen sitting helplessly watching from the sidelines. That's what I saw anyway. So, have any questions for me? I'm all lugs and eyes, of course, because you're not going to speak to me. You're going to write to me if you write. So, does this look like an arm? Yes. So hopefully that is going to be better than it was before. Now we'll have this arm also stiffened to an extent that it's probably going to be fine. And then there's a leg. This is definitely wobbly, a wobbly leg. People are so quick to leave me, but that's okay. I just want to chat to whoever wants to chat to me. So this is definitely needing some reinforcements from whole leg. It's good to work with plaster outside because the sun will and the air will help with the drying process. We definitely need a quick drying process here. My studio is pretty damp, I think. Things weren't really drying there. What is the time? Anyone got a clue? Depending on where you are in the country, in the world, that would make it useful or not useful to know. So, desperately wanting somebody to ask me questions. Desperately little action on the question front. We can have deep and meaningful conversations here, you know, if you just join me. So, I wrote in the title that we can talk about mental health, and that is because my exhibition is about addiction, but addiction and mental health go hand in hand, because quite often people who have mental health issues end up with addictions, and people with addictions end up with mental health issues. So they kind of cross over quite a lot. I once suffered from, I mean, I got certainly antidepressants for it, but to be honest, it was, I was in a relationship that wasn't, it wasn't a, yeah, I was just taking it too seriously. I could have just said, hey, it's not going to be us, but I found that really difficult to say, so I was fighting for this relationship to work, and it was taking a toll on my health, and I was finding food disgusting, or definitely didn't taste good, and I went to the doctors, flew in through the door, bawled my eyes out, and she immediately pretty much gave me a prescription for some antidepressant. I can't remember what it was called, and I was told at first it'll make you feel worse before it'll make you feel better. And to be honest, what I do remember happening was getting these brain shocks, and I was never told about brain shocks when I took them, but I noticed them. It was only later when I was listening to some people talking about pharmaceuticals and how they're not all what they're cracked up to be, that somebody mentioned brain shocks. So anyway, there I was with my brain shocks and my sort of depression and my wrong relationship, and I don't actually really remember that they helped. And some people actually say they are placebo, so be interested to know your thoughts on that. And anyone got some thoughts about our tendency to give people a lot of diagnoses? So there a lot of ADHD going around like a plague, and there's also autism going around, and then there's diagnosed with depression and stuff like that, which of course people are depressed, but when so many people are being diagnosed with autism and ADHD, the question is what is causing this pandemic? And I could ask myself, is it because we're getting worse at communicating because we're sitting with our screens all the time? And with regards to ADHD, is it because we have created such a streamlined society that a lot of people are falling outside of it? That sometimes happens, that you create a perfect society that should run like it's on wheels or on rail tracks, and people are just not built like that. People are individuals and unique, and some people are good at remembering, some people are good at thinking lots of thoughts and thinking, problem solving them, or just being deep thinkers, while other people are just good at getting things done. And if we try and create a society where it's the people who are just good at getting things done that are normal, and everyone else is abnormal and needs a diagnosis, then perhaps we're creating a sick society. So if anyone has any thoughts about that, then feel free to come with them. I think we definitely need to create a society where there's space for more different types of people, so that people can find their place in this world. I think a lot of people feel wrong because they don't fit into the mold. Talking of molds, sitting with one right here. So if you break out of the mold, then you're wrong, and maybe you need a diagnosis. I also heard a friend of mine, her brother was diagnosed with, I think it was autism, and now he's got a workplace with a firm that really tries to employ people with autism and make it a good working place for them. And that's probably a workplace that's making room for different types of people with different skills, because we've all got different skills, man. So do tell me about who you guys are, because like my skills are probably problem solving, deep thinking, sculpting maybe, sports. I'm naturally strong and have good hand-eye coordination. So what are your skills? Because people are all going to be different, and we've got to be different. It's actually even a biblical thing. I don't know if any of you read the Bible, but there's something about the body, which is, you know, like considered the church. It says, you know, if you say you're not part of the body because you're not the eye, then it's nonsense. What if everyone was the eye? Then who should be the ear, and who should be the feet? I think that thought pattern should carry on into society as a whole, because we are different. We need to be different. So some people are going to be the leg. Oh dear, how do we do this? If we make it wrong to be the leg instead of the mouth, then who wants to be a leg? And if everyone's medicated to be the mouth instead of the leg, then, you know, the leg will, the ability to travel, walk, to just carry on the metaphor, will be, will stumble, will suffer. We can't all be legs, and we can't all be eyes, and we can't all be ears, because then there'd be parts of the body that are missing. So you who is watching, this is a leg, and I'm just saying that if we were all, I think society is creating a perfect norm, and that makes everyone who's not that perfect norm feel outside, and you're getting a lot of backlash of that now, I think, even in terms of why so many people feel like they don't belong in their gender. I think is also something to do with creating this perfect woman stereotype, regardless of what they say about there being space for everyone. If you have a perfect woman's stereotype, and they're usually used in advertising, and the perfect male stereotype, and if you don't look or feel like that person and don't enjoy the same things as they do, then you might feel like you don't belong in that gender, and then start to want to move away from that. I mean, when I was a kid, I was definitely more boyish. And my mom even asked me, would you rather have been a boy? And I was like, I don't even remember what I said. I think I probably thought it was a strange question, because what could be done? But I think it was first when I was about 31, when I totally fell in love with some guy, that I started to find peace in my feminine body, and allow myself to be a little bit feminine sometimes. But that also gives me the freedom to sometimes be a bit masculine. And of course, arm wrestling is definitely more a masculine sport. You can see that from the amount of people who arm wrestle, who are male compared to female, and who watch it also much more. Many more men watch arm wrestling than women. One of my participants in a live YouTube channel thing, somebody wanted to just hail me because and honor me because I was probably only female on the chat, which I thought was quite fun. Like, got to be good to these few females that we have that are interested in this sport. So that was me. And somebody called Layla, I guess. Leah and Layla. We're some of the few that actually comment and watch the lives. Okay, I'm looking forward to somebody asking me a question so that I can answer it, or try and answer it. Somebody asked me a question. Monologues is not really my skill. So this is leg day for me. This kind of leg day. Ooh, who's writing? Phipps. So when I do art projects like this, it's quite difficult to make it speedy and effective because it's really usually quite a slow process. So that's why it'd be fun to have a conversation while I'm doing this. So feel free, therefore, to ask me questions. I'll try and be able to read them. Send me text messages. Ooh, 17:57. It's getting late. Okay. Well, we could be wrapping up shortly. Ask me a question. Anything. So, who thinks John Brzen's going to win his match against the German? I'm just sitting here making a sculpture, or trying to make it succeed. Successful sculptures are preferred. Whoops. Whoops, I need to cut this. Right. Ask me anything you like. You know who I am. You who's watching. I'm a professional artist and a non-professional arm wrestler. That scared you away? That's 6 o'clock Danish time. Really hoping this is going to stiffen in the right position. I'm desperate for questions. Ask me anything. Somebody's just written, I love you, which is nice, but I can't answer to that. Especially if I don't know who you are. Oh, hello, some people. Oh, you vanished. Is that because I looked? You can ask me anything you like. I'm watching the screen, and so has anyone got any thoughts about the American election with Kamala Harris, Donald Trump? Kind of all a bit hairy scary, in my opinion. Peekaboo. So I don't know if you watched for a while or not, but I'm creating a sculpture. This is a leg, so this is leg day, and it's going to be part of an exhibition about addiction. So anyone who wants to talk to me about anything that's related to that, or arm wrestling for that matter, or anything else, I'm all ears. Be nice to just to chat, especially about things of some depth. I like to have deep conversations with people, and I'm thinking a lot about the transgender issue, and I totally understand that some people feel certain things, but when should feelings rule actions? I think perhaps this generation or this era is too feeling orientated. It can be quite dangerous because feelings can change. So I can see there are a couple of people on. I'm waiting for somebody to be brave and ask me some questions or tell me about yourselves. So I'm sitting here working on some art, and I could either sit here on my own or I could sit here with you, and I'd like to be asked questions if anyone's got any. It could be about art, it could be about faith, it could be about arm wrestling, it could be about the Olympics. I haven't watched so much, but the controversies, always interesting. Do 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 do. My phone just died. Looks a bit dead to me.